Most people believe that copying someone else's work makes you less creative. But what if I told you that's not true at all? In fact, research shows that imitation can boost your creativity. According to a study from Stanford University, 76% of successful creators started by mimicking others before developing their own style. Surprising, right? Here's another shocking fact. Did you know that 50% of the most innovative ideas are just old ideas remixed in a new way? It turns out, creativity isn't about creating something brand new. It's about transforming what's already out there. In this video, we'll break down why copying isn't the enemy of originality. I'll show you how imitation, remixing, and cross-pollinating ideas from different fields can spark your creativity in ways you've never imagined. And by the end, you'll learn how to turn someone else's influence into your own unique masterpiece. Ready to discover the secret behind real creativity? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Power of Copying. Learning from the masters. Imitation gets a bad rap, but did you know it's actually one of the fastest ways to improve your skills? Many successful creators started by copying others. Take Pablo Picasso, for instance, who once said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." He wasn't promoting theft, but rather absorbing and reshaping what came before. Copying helps you learn techniques that have been tried and tested. It's like training wheels for creativity. A study from the University of Tokyo found that people who imitated successful ideas ended up with stronger original concepts later on. Why? Because copying lets you focus on how things work before you worry about originality. Think of it like learning an instrument. You don't write your own music on day one. First, you play songs by others to understand rhythm, chords, and structure. Over time, you develop your style. Imitation is especially useful when you're stuck. By mimicking the approach of someone you admire, you get to see things from their perspective. In fact, 62% of creatives surveyed in a 2019 Adobe study admitted to drawing inspiration from others to overcome mental roadblocks. So, copying isn't the enemy of creativity. It's a tool, and a powerful one at that. The key is to use it as a stepping stone. Once you've learned the rules, you can break them in ways that are uniquely yours. Chapter 2. The Remix Effect. Turning old ideas into gold. Have you ever noticed how the most popular songs, movies, and artworks often feel familiar? That's because they are. The concept of remixing is everywhere. When you remix, you take existing ideas and twist them into something new. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, just improve it or give it a new spin. There's a great quote by Austin Kleon from Steal Like an Artist: "Nothing is original. Steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination." That's the heart of remixing. You take pieces of the world around you and rearrange them to create something fresh. Remixing allows you to innovate without starting from scratch. A 2021 study in the Harvard Business Review found that companies using a remix strategy saw 30% more success in product innovation. Why? Because people naturally like things that are familiar but presented in new ways. One of the most famous examples is Star Wars. George Lucas borrowed ideas from ancient mythology, old westerns, and Japanese samurai films. He didn't create something out of thin air, he mixed existing elements to craft something revolutionary. You can do the same in your creative process. Look at what's out there, take pieces that resonate with you, and transform them into something that's uniquely yours. The remix is where magic happens, blending the old with the new to create something timeless. Take a moment to subscribe, and we'll get right back into the video. Chapter 3. Personal Flavor. Injecting you into what you imitate. It's not enough to just copy. To make it truly creative, you need to add you into the mix. Every creator has a unique perspective, shaped by their experiences, culture, and personality. When you imitate someone's work, you don't have to be a carbon copy. Injecting your own personal flavor makes the final product distinct. A perfect example comes from the world of fashion. Many designers take inspiration from classic trends but put their own spin on them. Coco Chanel famously reinvented the men's suit for women, adding softer fabrics and a more tailored fit. The base idea was imitation, but her personal touch transformed it into something iconic. Adding your flavor is what transforms imitation into innovation. The more personal and authentic you are, the more memorable your work becomes. In a 2018 Nielsen survey, 92% of people said they trust content that feels personal and relatable. That's a huge percentage, and a reminder that people connect with authenticity. If you're wondering how to add your personal touch, start by thinking about what makes you you. What are your passions? What life experiences have shaped you? When you let your personality shine through in your work, it adds depth and originality that no one else can replicate. So, instead of worrying about whether you're copying too much, focus on how you can inject more of yourself into the mix. That's where true creativity is born. Chapter 4. Creative cross-pollination. Borrowing across disciplines. Creativity often blossoms when you mix ideas from different fields. This is called cross-pollination, and it's one of the most powerful strategies to spark innovation. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He famously blended art and technology, which led to the sleek design of Apple products. His ability to think across disciplines set Apple apart from the competition. When you borrow ideas from other fields, you tap into a well of inspiration that might not exist within your niche. According to a study from the University of Cambridge, people who engage in activities outside their expertise are 22% more likely to come up with original solutions to problems. This shows that stepping outside your usual zone can bring fresh insights. You don't have to be a master of everything, though. Simply exploring other areas can give you a new lens to view your work. Consider how chefs borrow techniques from painters to plate food like artwork. Or how musicians might take cues from the rhythms of nature to compose new songs. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest innovators in history, used cross-pollination to his advantage. He was both an artist and a scientist, and he combined these passions to fuel his creativity. His studies in anatomy, for instance, helped him paint more realistic human figures. The more you blend ideas from different worlds, the more unique your creations become. So, if you're stuck in a creative rut, try reading about a topic that's totally unrelated to your field. You never know where the next big idea will come from. Chapter 5. The evolution of ideas. Building on what came before, creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum. Every idea we have is, in some way, built on what came before it. This concept is known as iterative creativity. The best ideas are often not born out of thin air but are improvements or expansions of older concepts. Look at the evolution of the smartphone. Early mobile phones were bulky and limited. But over time, creators took the basic idea and refined it, adding features like touchscreens, cameras, and apps. The iPhone, released in 2007, wasn't the first smartphone, but it was a game-changer because it built on existing ideas in a new way. A 2020 study from Stanford University found that 64% of groundbreaking innovations are simply iterations of previous inventions. This reinforces the idea that improving or tweaking old concepts can lead to massive breakthroughs. In the world of literature, Shakespeare famously borrowed plots from older stories and historical events. But it's the way he wrote and reimagined them that made his plays timeless. By adding his unique voice, he transformed familiar tales into something extraordinary. So, don't be afraid to start with something that's already been done. Your job is to evolve it, make it better, more relevant, or more exciting. Remember, innovation often comes from small, consistent improvements over time. Your creative journey is about building on the past to shape the future. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more amazing videos.